Halo the Master Chief Collection should go free to play, and here's why. A couple weeks ago, Microsoft came out with an announcement that they were going to raise prices of Xbox Live, which was going to effectively double the cost of it over a year period. Unsurprisingly, this was met with huge backlash from fans of Xbox and just gamers in general, but what was actually surprising was that after this backlash, Microsoft completely backpedaled. Not only did they decide to not raise prices, they also decided that free-to-play games were no longer going to require Xbox Live to be played online. This is absolutely huge because other platforms already did this, and it makes games like Fortnite, Apex, Warzone, etc., the big free-to-play multiplayer games, completely free to play, obviously minus microtransactions. These free-to-play games no longer need a monthly subscription, so it brings them much more in line with the PC gaming, where everything is free as long as you have the game. Without a doubt, this is going to be huge for Halo Infinite, as the multiplayer for that game is going to be free to play, and now even more players on Xbox are going to be able to check it out with zero barrier to entry. However, today I want to talk about Halo the Master Chief Collection. The Master Chief Collection rolled out in 2014 on Xbox to a bunch of issues, to say the least, and I'm sure everyone by now has heard them over and over, so we're not going to go over them in this video. Eventually, the collection started making its way onto PC in late 2019, and eventually finished the rollout of all the titles toward the end of 2020. The road for the Master Chief Collection has been a long one, full of ups and downs, and while I would still say that the game is far from perfect, it has definitely had its own mini redemption arc when you compare it to the state that the collection was originally in. So now let's talk about why it would be huge for MCC and possibly even Halo as a franchise for the game to go free to play. Sometime this year, we're going to be getting the custom game browser and additional mod support that we have been waiting for since the launch. These are great features for the game, and like I mentioned, we've been waiting for them for a really long time, but these really are going to change up kind of how the game is played and what you're able to do with the game. Once these features come out, players are going to be able to more easily play custom games, which have been a main component of Halo multiplayer for years. I couldn't tell you all of the memories that I have playing Halo 3 customs back in the day when I was a kid, or Halo Reach customs, or even in more recent years Halo 5 customs. The customs community, rightfully so, love their custom games, and there is a reason that some of people's favorite memories of Halo are the weird and wacky custom games that they were able to play. Now imagine this, those features roll out with the announcement that the collection is going free to play. However, rather than turning the Master Chief Collection into a free-to-play money-making machine, this is purely a marketing scheme for Halo Infinite. Get as many players as possible into the Halo ecosystem before Infinite drops, and then you'll be able to monetize those players that you've brought in. Other games have done similar things in the past through the use of either full free-to-play or sometimes just free weekends before large announcements or before the release of sequels. While I would advocate for a full free-to-play game, a series of free weekends or even every weekend leading up to Infinite would do the trick and would also be huge. You're probably thinking, while this would be great for the Master Chief Collection's numbers, it's obviously not something that Microsoft is going to do, as they'd just be giving away their product for free. I would disagree though. First off, I would propose only making the multiplayer free to play and still charging money for the campaigns. This would allow players on Xbox or Steam to launch it up and check out matchmaking or custom games with no barrier of entry, but would still require them to pay a small premium to experience the campaigns, and I think that's totally reasonable. Even having a barrier of entry of $1 or 99 cents is absolutely huge, because then you have to actively think, do I want to purchase this game? When it's free, you just download it and check it out. I can't even begin to describe all the weird jank and all the dumb games that I've tried purely because they were free to play. If they had cost even $1, I wouldn't have checked out half of them. And that just comes down to just the way that our minds work, and the fact that it's free, you're much more willing, there's no commitment, you just download it, you play it for 5 minutes, and if you don't like it, you just bounce. But if there is an investment, even the littlest one, you're much less likely to check the game out, especially if it's something you don't know much about or you're really iffy on. Now, if Microsoft was still iffy on the entire multiplayer going free to play, you could segment it a bit more and only allow customs to be free and then charge a premium for players who want to play matchmaking, Or maybe you do it so they can play customs and social, but you have to buy the game to be able to play ranked. There's various ways you could do it, but obviously for the sake of simplifying it and everything, I would just make the multiplayer completely free to play, just because then it's more straightforward and then they can experience the whole package. Allowing players who have never played Halo or haven't played Halo in years to experience the multiplayer and especially the custom games with the custom game browser before Halo Infinite comes out would easily win over new fans, in my opinion. While the Master Chief Collection social and ranked experience can definitely be hard on newcomers in this day and age, customs are far from that. And with the custom browser, it would be absolutely perfect for introducing fans to the franchise or reinvigorating lost fans. Some of you are probably worried though. Free-to-play means terrible monetization, and in general, I would agree with you. However, I am not one that's really against free-to-play games as long as the monetization models aren't terrible, because I'd like to be able to jump in and out games without that barrier to entry, and if we're being honest, it's also just the trend of general multiplayer games these days is to go free-to-play. Now, I know the Master Chief Collection is a game that had a price tag to it, so there's added complications of taking it from a game with a price tag to a game that is free to play, but you have to consider that the Master Chief Collection has already taken on a live service model. It adds new content with seasons that include new skins and armors, so that's not going to change at all. The only possible change would be the addition of microtransactions. However, I would ask, does Microsoft even need to add them? The Master Chief Collection was a top seller on Steam in 2020, but how many people are really going to buy it for the multiplayer specifically in 2021 and ongoing into the future? If I had to venture a guess, not a number big enough worth caring about. You do also have to find a way to compensate players who did buy the game. Obviously, they'll still get the campaigns, but they would have to find a way to kind of ease players who purchased the game so that they don't feel like they were ripped off. Again, personally, this isn't something that would bother me at all because I bought the game to play it when it still cost money and I got my time out of it, and if it went free to play, that just means more players playing the game, so it doesn't bother me at all, but I do understand that some people would be upset by that. I purely see this move as a marketing move for Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's multiplayer is going to be free to play, granted with microtransactions, so letting people into the franchise a few months early to get the taste of Halo and experience the things that make Halo super fun, I think would be awesome. Sure, some won't love the older Halo games and that's fine, but at the very least, this will remind people that Halo still exists, as it would most definitely hike up the player numbers a bit on PC and probably even a little bit on Xbox. If for some reason marketing alone isn't enough for Microsoft, they could also do super unobstructive microtransactions, although I'm not a fan of that. One that comes to mind is one that other games do with battle passes where you can just buy the levels. Maybe it's like a couple bucks for 10 levels or $1 for 10 levels. So people who didn't want to grind out the season pass could unlock all the tiers for like 10 to 20 bucks. I personally would prefer if it was totally free the way it is now, but I don't think that even if you had a tiny bit of microtransactions that it would ruin the game by any means, and the extra player base from going free to play, to me, would outweigh the negatives of this in my opinion. There's also the problem with cheaters once a game is free to play. This is true, and honestly isn't something I have much of a rebuttal to. You don't see many cheaters in the Master Chief Collection today, however I think that's more just the game's low player base than it is that the anti-cheat is stopping them all. One way to combat this outside of redoing the anti-cheat is just not allowing free-to-play players to play matchmaking or requiring them to play a certain amount of custom games before being able to play matchmaking, although that second option isn't really a great solution because you could probably just cheese it. At the very least, you could lock out free-to-play players from ranked and just wrap that into the package for buying the campaigns, so there definitely are some different options there. Personally, I just think the combination of the customs browser with free-to-play for the multiplayer would be absolutely huge, not only for the collection, but just for Halo as a franchise. Before Halo Online, or El Dorito as you might know it, was kind of pseudo shut down, I know it's still totally playable, but a lot of people think it's shut down, there were a ton of people playing custom games on it, ranging from regular settings to Fat Kid and beyond, all using what effectively was a customs browser. The Master Chief Collection would easily be able to replicate this with tons of players coming in to play custom games, and with no barrier to entry, even more people are going to jump in and experience them. Anyways, that's going to do it for the video. Kind of let me know in the comments what you think about MCC going free to play. Should it happen, or do you prefer there being a price tag like it is now? That's pretty much it for the actual content of this video. So if you just clicked on it to kind of hear about free to play, you can click off now. I just have some general kind of like channel cleanup and kind of what's going on here, and I'll do it really quick. So if you don't know, me and my wife had our second kid last week, so that's kind of why there's been less videos on the channel and probably ongoing for the near future. And also I'm going to kind of be doing a little bit of restructuring in terms of the content that I upload on this channel versus my second channel. In recent times, my second channel has actually started gaining some traction, which in the past it was not really doing. So if you want to jump over to that channel, what I'm going to be posting on that channel, the links in the description, is Halo clips either from me or from the community, along with just gaming clips from other games, whether it's games I'm playing or it's clips that other people submit. It's just kind of all in one package, a lot of clips. But I'm also posting edited gameplay videos from streams or off stream, whether it's Halo or Valorant or, again, kind of whatever game I'm playing at the time. You can find all that over on the second channel. On the main channel, I'm going to try and keep it more to high quality videos. In the past, I've definitely fallen into the trap of just uploading a video for the sake of getting a second upload in a week, etc. And now I can put a lot more of that stuff on the second channel if it's just really strictly gameplay related. So for example, you're still going to see a lot of scripted content on here, semi-scripted content, gameplay content when it's relevant, like new content or something I really want to show off. But things like my Halo Christmas special or Halo Left 4 Dead, those are things you're probably going to see more on the second channel. You'll also still see Can You Still Plays on this channel, and at least in the time leading up to Halo Infinite, I'm going to attempt to make more of an effort to review more multiplayer games that come out, specifically shooters. I've really been slacking on that recently, and I pretty much just make videos on Halo, and I want to get back into talking about other games a bit more, at least until Halo Infinite comes out, and then I'll probably be pretty busy. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. If you guys enjoyed the video, you know what to do. If you want to catch me live, I do stream on Twitch, although I'm actually not sure when I'm going to start streaming again because I'm taking a break from that. Or you can come over and follow me on Twitter. And with that said, I'll see you all next time.